Hope University. Francesco, welcome to the program. OK, let me try to get these numbers right. In one day alone, a few months ago, at Chisinau Airport, authorities scooped $1.5 million. They have scooped tens of millions of dollars in money being transferred to citizens of Moldova. They believe this is money coming from Russia to buy votes. It's quite incredible.
Yes, but then it's quite flagrant. Obviously, Moscow is doing and has done everything it possibly can to hold on to Moldova, or certainly to ensure that the result, as far as changing the constitution is concerned, is not clear-cut. Because I think the Russians realize that the presidential election may not go towards their candidates, but the referendum and what follows the referendum result, changing the constitution, will be a longer game. So quite clearly, they wanted to make sure, quite flagrantly actually, that they would try and buy the votes of a lot of very, very poor people in that very, very small frontier country that has ping-ponged, if you like, from west to east since the fall of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, I mean, this Moldovan oligarch, his name is Ilhan Shaw, he's been trying to communicate directly with the people of Moldova, saying, choose a president that I can work with. I mean, obviously, if he's living in Russia, he's pro-Moscow anyway. And in terms of the referendum regarding the EU, it looks as if it would pass because 12 parties are supporting the yes option. Only 2 are backing a no option. I mean, what is the motivation for Moldovans to look westwards rather than eastwards?
Well, I guess the Moldovians, the ethnic Romanians, let's be clear about this and let's not beat about the bush, will clearly look to Bucharest and through Bucharest will look westwards, look to Brussels, frankly. Romania is in the European Union. Many Moldovians have gone to Bucharest and then on. So there's that. It's also clear that those who live in Transnistria and those who live further south, Gagauzia, it's another region, will look east. And of course, the nostalgics, those who remember the great times before the fall, if you like, of a certain generation, will nostalgically still look east. So highly divided country, and it's really not going to be an easy game over them. Remember, just to be clear, changing the constitution is one thing. Meeting the conditions for membership is another. That's going to take 10 years at least.
Yeah.
If we remember that Bulgaria and Romania joined, but if you like, the EU allowed them to join for essentially geopolitical reasons, and that was the Eastern enlargement. But even until today, Romania and Bulgaria are still not only the poorest countries in the European Union, but also in terms of judicial reforms, corruption, and so on. They're way behind anybody else. So let's be clear. Symbolically, this is a very important election between East and West, between Moscow and Brussels. That's absolutely clear. But this is a really long, long game. So the symbolism mustn't be lost on people. And who comes out, and the opinion polls were suggesting that around about 55%. We don't have any definite results, or I certainly don't yet. But the opinion polls beforehand suggested that there would be a majority for changing the constitution to eventually join the European Union when they meet those conditions.
Yeah, look, we don't even have any exit polls either, Francesco, so don't worry about being up to date because nobody has that information. Just looking at it from the EU's point of view, is it really advisable for the EU to be admitting countries like Ukraine and Moldova or whoever else who have these structural issues, who, as you say, they have issues about independence of the judiciary, free media, or whatever else it may be, that the EU requires to become a member? Is it wise for the EU to keep expanding?
I think that the simple geopolitical answer is yes, we need to expand as far as we possibly can. The same motive, if you like, that justified the expansion eastwards in 2004. In other words, Poland, Hungary, and so on. And we've seen the kind of problems that they've generated within the Union. So the geopolitical answer is yes. The internal mechanism answer is no. Quite honestly, I think that anchoring countries like this immediately in the decision-making structures of the Union is a problem. We're seeing that problem today with Hungary, for example, that is clearly playing some kind of interesting game within the Union. And my own personal view is that they should have been suspended as members because they are clearly infringing the requirements of Article 2. And they have been doing so for a long while. But that has not happened. So, if you like, my own view is that it's going to be such a long time that hopefully some of these issues may have been dealt with, but it'll take at least a decade, if not longer.
Francesco, thank you so much indeed. Always appreciate the analysis.
Thank you. Good night.